WNST Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. Now streaming out on our YouTube channel at WNSTV. Also playing around with our Facebook Live and doing all sorts of things. And I tell you what, Luke Jones has been going out to some rather sleepy Orioles games that took on, a different tone, I would say, on Tuesday night. Orioles win and win big, but hey, I woke up this morning, Luke, and there's national news around the Orioles, huh?
There really is, and not that I would say Manny Machado and the Orioles were the ones really to blame for anything. And we'll get more into
well, I don't know that he did anything we wouldn't have done. I can't sit here and be mad at Manny Machado for this. Well,
here's the thing, and as I wrote at WNST.net, in a perfect world, would you love Manny Machado to just bite his tongue and glare at Ventura as he walks to first base and the home plate umpire immediately throws out a pitcher for clearly throwing at a hitter with a 99-mile-per-hour missile? Yeah, you'd like that because you don't want to see him put himself in further harm's way than taking the pitch, and you don't want to see his teammates come out and put themselves in harm's way. But at the same time, there is a human being there. There is emotion that's going to come through there when your livelihood is threatened. So now, chanting for Manny Machado, that's over the top. I'm not cool with that, and sorry, Orioles fans, if you're listening right now and you were chanting, because it's not something that there's anything good from it. But Yordano Ventura, clearly the one in the wrong here, big time. You could say Manny Machado wasn't completely blameless. There was jawing going back and forth the previous at bat. Could he have handled that a little bit better?
Yeah, but Manny Machado can't hit Yordano Ventura with a pitch.
Sure, and that's my point. No amount of jawing made Machado deserving of taking that pitch, in the ribs, 99 miles per hour, the hardest pitch that Ventura threw all night. So I understand what Manny Machado did. Shouldn't be celebrated. It shouldn't be something where he's viewed as a hero.
I'm surprised he didn't take the bat out there, quite frankly. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, look, the Royals have been punks for a long time. It's cute when it's them fighting with the Blue Jays and with other teams.
Right.
I know our fan base, not just from losing a year and a half ago, and I think you saw some of that from Buck in the postgame as well, but, it's no secret our fan base doesn't like them, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel that way necessarily, but after Tuesday night, now I don't like them. Now the cuteness and the baby blue and their nice stadium and the nice story, all that to me, and a good group of young players in Hosmer and Kane and,
sure.
And Moustakas. This jumps the shark for the Orioles fan base, and really, Ventura's in the middle of all of it if it's not Jeremy Guthrie wearing that shirt a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, and Jeremy Guthrie wearing the shirt, in the big picture, that was harmless. Was it a good look for a former Oriole, talking about his old teammates? No, but, that wasn't anything that really deserved long-lasting hate. It was a story for that day, a day or two.
And I did take a nice picture at the press conference there that day.
Exactly.
So if anybody thinks I don't deserve my press pass, I did make that thing go viral.
But with Ventura, he's had some incidents in the past. Early last season, I believe it was the Angels and the White Sox, I want to say it was. You can go. I even linked to my piece at WNST.net. I even linked to a piece that was written in the Kansas City Star.
Well, this is the story of Ventura, right? The story is this is what he does, this is who he is, and the other story of him is he's not a very good pitcher right now. I mean, let's be honest.
Well, and this is where more than anyone, and look, Ventura's clearly at fault here, but Manny Machado's reaction, which, again, understandable, but not something to be praised, not something to be celebrated in my mind, but this is a Major League Baseball issue because history has suggested, and we saw this. Their social media is pimping the scuffle, highlights of the fight. But their history suggests Yordano Ventura is going to get a suspension, and it's going to amount to him missing one start, maybe two. Manny Machado will get a suspension, and you charge him out, and you punch someone. You're going to get a suspension. I mean, that's just reality, and Manny even acknowledged that.
What's he going to get? 3 games, 5 games? What's he going to get?
I'm guessing 5, and I could see it getting reduced to 4 or 3. I think it's clear that Ventura needs to get a much more severe punishment. But that said, these types of things continue to happen in Major League Baseball because baseball doesn't take it seriously. A guy throwing a 99-mile-per-hour pitch at a player, that's a weapon. I mean, that's something that can absolutely injure someone and keep them sidelined. It's someone that could end their career if it comes up at the head. So I mean, it's something that needs to be taken more seriously. I think if baseball got more extreme, got more aggressive with their discipline, and said, you know what, you throw intentionally at a hitter, you're not going to get 10 games. You're going to get 50. You're going to be sat down for a much longer period of time. And you know what would probably happen? And if you do the same thing then for anyone who charges the mound, anything like that, you'd have far fewer of these incidents because you'd have everyone realizing, you know what, we get caught up in this, I'm going to be missing a lot more time, and I'm going to be losing a lot more money. And that's where really the root of this stems. Major League Baseball allows this garbage to continue, allows pitchers to decide they're going to punish someone for being lousy at their job, and that's what this was. Yordano Ventura stunk on Tuesday night, and he decided, maybe because Manny Machado has a reputation for being a hothead, we've seen it. He's 2 years removed from the bat-throwing incident that embarrassed him and the organization, so maybe that made him an easier target. But the root of this is a pitcher decided he was going to punish someone for being really bad at his job on Tuesday night. And players, whether it's Machado, whether it's a number of players, yeah, you'd love to see him just bite his tongue and go to first base. You'd love to see that because you understand that there are consequences for this. But at the same time, baseball has shown time and time again they're not willing to crack down on this kind of nonsense from pitchers, whether we're talking about a bat flip, whether we're talking about someone hitting a home run, whatever it might be. Baseball isn't serious enough with their discipline, and that's when you have this notion where players are going to police themselves, teams are going to police themselves.
The unwritten rules.
There has to be a better way than, well, that's the way it's always been done, because this stuff continues to happen, and while it looks early on, but we'll see here over the next couple of days, of course, it'll become pretty apparent pretty quickly, but it looks like no players got hurt in the scuffle, but it's something that it's happened before. It nearly cost Cal Ripken his streak in 1993.
I was at that game. I remember that mess. That was really Sutcliffe and Johnny Oates egging on Messina to do it, quite frankly. That was not in Messina's arsenal to do that. Right. He was told that's how big leaguers act. And let me say this, too, because, I can tell you're kind of pissed at the establishment and whatnot. Sitting there listening to Bordick and Dempsey, who are the nice guys in the game, continue to make excuses for it, and this is the way the game's done. This is the way we do things. And, the jockocracy, and I know I've talked a lot about Ali this week, and Cosell's attached to that. The jockocracy is a big part of that. And the way baseball is a big part of that, right?
Yeah, and again, this isn't, I'm not really even crushing Manny Machado here as much as situations like this, players feel that that the pitcher's getting off with nothing more than a slap of the wrist in most cases. And, this is a case where Adam Jones may have made the most cogent point of the entire night when he said, Yordano Ventura doesn't have to go up to the plate and potentially face that music. Now, that doesn't mean, two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not endorsing that either, but at the very least, you have that as a deterrent in the National League where you say, you know what, I hit someone on purpose, whether I get tossed at that point in time or not, I'm going to have to bat regularly, and I'm going to have to bat again against that team in the National League. And, we have some interleague here and there, but it's not, for an American League pitcher, you might only bat a handful of times a year, and the chances of hitting against that team, which you're guilty of doing something like this against, is very small. So, you have a case where this guy continues to have incidents, and, he's a talented pitcher, as Adam Jones said. This guy, if he wants to be Pedro Martinez, throw up a sub-2 ERA. Don't try to hurt people. It's for all the talent that he might have, it's clear there's something wrong between the ears, and I think it was interesting. Ned Yost, in his post-game comments, wouldn't answer whether he thought Ventura was the one to blame, and that's a tough position for a manager to be in. But at the same time, he did acknowledge when asked by a Kansas City reporter if some of his own teammates are getting frustrated by this. he didn't say that they weren't frustrated.
Well,
by
I go back to Benitez, right? I was in those locker rooms before Angelos took my press pass and threw me out. I know what that looked like. I walked locker to locker, and nobody wanted to go out there and even help him into the fight. And, someone said to Buck after the game on Tuesday night, it got cleaned up quickly out there or whatever. I'm honestly, it speaks volumes to me that the Orioles don't have a clubhouse full of hotheads, that the Matt Wieters and the Trumbos and the Davises and, these other sort of mild characters weren't out there throwing other punches. That Oriole team we're talking about back in the day with the Messina fight had, Alan Mills and a bunch of guys that didn't mind scrapping, quite frankly. And it's kind of like a hockey team. Some hockey teams want to fight, some teams don't want to fight. But the Royals have started so many of these fights, it is kind of amazing that they cleaned it up as quick as they did.
They really did.
Given the bad blood between these teams.
And I can't recall who said it on Twitter, but it was a great point. Basically saying, you look at that team, Chris Davis, Mark Trumbo, Matt Wieters. There are some huge guys on the Orioles. It might have been a case where, one, his own teammates are tired of Yordano Ventura's buffoonery, and two, they saw the Orioles and they thought, you know what, we might be able to beat them when it comes to playing small ball and using speed and playing great defense. Lorenzo Cain made a phenomenal catch in this game that completely gets forgotten. One of the best catches I've seen in the history of Camden Yards. But it might have been a case where they say, I'm not putting myself in too much harm's way. If all the Orioles teammates came out there, and really the main goal was to get Manny Machado away, but at the same time, they were out there. They were ticked off. Adam Jones said he's going to pay Machado's fine. So it was very much a supportive clubhouse. As I said, I'm understanding of Manny Machado reacting the way he did. I don't think it should be celebrated. I don't think it's worthy of his name, chanting his name. Again, if you want to see fights, go check out a UFC pay-per-view. Go watch Monday Night Raw. I don't like this stuff in baseball whatsoever, but it's baseball's problem primarily because they don't seem all that concerned about it being an issue.
Dude, I was at Memorial Stadium in '76 when George Scott, charged the mound. You know what I mean? I've seen some stuff in my day, and I'm with you. I don't know what takes it out. I've been on the radio 25 years. We've talked about it for 25 years. I think 25 years from now, we'll still be talking about it. They can stiffen the fines, they can stiffen the money, but until they make the pitcher bat, there's always going to be a guy like Ventura out there. That's just where it's at in the American League.
Well, and look, I'm not naive enough to think that these things are never, ever going to happen. But when as a pitcher, one, if you are pitching in the American League and you don't have to face the possibility of facing the music yourself against most teams that you're going to play against, and two, that history suggests you're going to miss a start, maybe two, in most cases.
Machado's going to miss a week or a better part of it. This isn't going to be a 1 or a 2 gamer. He's going to miss a series at least.
I don't think he's going to get a ton of. I don't think this is going to be. But at the same time, because he has a reputation and the bat throwing incident, that's going to be factored in here. I would think. Even if
he's not a first-time offender,
if I cut
right?
Up the blame for this to be more 90 or 95% Ventura and 5 or 10% Manny from just the previous at bat, but it's something that it's not good. It's not something, and this is why when fans were chanting his name right after it happened, I tweeted out and I ticked off quite a few fans. I think I said, I wonder if the fans chanting right now are going to be happy when they realize Manny Machado is going to be suspended because of this incident. And again, he's not the one that I'm casting nearly the most blame with. This is clearly a Ventura thing, but it goes back to Major League Baseball not treating this seriously enough. We want to give out long suspensions for PEDs, right? And
we do.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, by the way. But we're going to do that, but then a pitcher who throws a 99-mile-per-hour missile at a hitter simply because he got his ass kicked that night and he was terrible at his job, then they get they get 10 games? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, 10 games as a starting pitcher is a joke.
It's nothing. It's a slap
It's a
on the
joke.
wrist.
I mean, you should be gone for 6 weeks if you do that as a pitcher, and miss 7 or 8 starts, and then we'll talk about are you going to bean somebody again?
Right. And if you as a hitter, you as the opposition, if you know that's in the cards where a guy might get 30 or 40 games, and look, I'm throwing out numbers, but it needs to be more than what it is. But if you know that, maybe you're not quite as emotional as Machado is there to the point where you're charging the mound. I mean, one, it would make the game much safer because it would eliminate a lot of this. And two, it might make things a little more cordial in that regard. You might be a little more willing to bite your tongue and curse at the guy and walk down the first baseline as opposed to going after him when you know, all right, this guy's a complete you-know-what, but he's going to be set down. He's going to be sitting for the next 30 or 40 games, whatever. But it's got to be something that if it's going to happen, the players' union has to be part of it. And I would think hitters specifically need to speak up in the players' union, especially when you're talking about American League pitchers doing this who don't face any danger of going up to the plate and facing the music themselves. Again, not saying two wrongs make a right, but that's a deterrent that. Not saying that, it's clear this stuff still happens in the NL too. Let's make that clear. But, it's at least something that will discourage some of these pitchers who decide they're going to, have the bravado and think they have the cojones to do this, and when they don't have to go up to the plate and bat themselves.
Luke Jones went to a fight at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and a baseball game broke out on Tuesday night. The Royals and the Orioles, we got one more left on Wednesday night before the Birds fly off to the land of Canada. All right, so we've talked about the brawl. I mean, I think we'll be talking about it when the Machado suspension comes out. We'll be talking about this in the next couple of days. I'm sure we'll talk about it anytime the Orioles and the Royals get together.
And remember, they go to Toronto where they have a history there, so... Who knows? Stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was an Ubaldo Jimenez, a rare Blue Moon victory for the big man, right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the results just on the surface, 1 earned run in 5 innings, and you say, okay, compared to what they've gotten, they'll take it. And I guess they will. But 9 hits allowed. I mean, that's the definition of scattering 9 hits in 5 innings. He walks 3. He was in a position where he put at least 2 runners on base in every single inning.
106 pitches in 5 innings. He's had a lot of full counts. He had a lot of 3-ball counts. I mean, it was insane.
I mean, as I always say to you, there are basically three versions of Ubaldo, and this isn't an absolute, but you have good Ubaldo, who you love seeing. You haven't seen him very much in his 3 years with the Orioles. You have bad Ubaldo, which is what we saw over the last 4 or 5 starts, where he's been just horrendous and hasn't given the Orioles too much of a chance of winning. And then there's Dennis Chair Ubaldo, who doesn't pitch well by any stretch of the imagination. It's an absolute grind. He throws 100 pitches in 5 innings, but you can live with the end result. And he gave up 1 run, so it wasn't a good start by any means. It wasn't a disaster either, but it certainly works. And this is another one of those times where you say, really, the win statistic, he gets a win for that. That really, that means something. No, it doesn't when he pitches the way he did. But hey, the bats, they crush Giordano Ventura, 4 runs in the first inning. And the thing that I really liked was the Orioles' response after the brawl. Trumbo and Davis go back-to-back. Jones hits a home run an inning later. That's how you respond to these shenanigans more than anything else. Kick the other team's ass on the field, and that's what the Orioles did on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, the story is what happened between Giordano Ventura and Manny Machado.
Yeah, and the process of all this is now going to become clear, right? It's been a little while since the Orioles have really been involved in this kind of a fracas, and especially when it's on the national news and stuff. How the league responds for Ventura and Machado, and whether that's today, tomorrow, Friday, sooner the better. I think they both have a history. It'll be interesting to talk about that on the backside and how they come to such conclusions, right?
Yeah, and, again, based on history, and maybe they will crack down on Giordano Ventura. I mean, it's clear, based on the Orioles' comments, and, he's had scuffles with other teams before. It's clear there's something not right with this kid. I mean, he's very talented. I think we've seen that. He's pitched brilliantly at times in his young career, but, you continue to have incidents like this. it really takes away from what people should be focused on, and that's your pitching. And maybe that's a good thing for him right now because he's been pretty lousy in 2016. And it was interesting. Social media, clearly you get a huge sampling of how people feel about this, talking media and fans alike. And I got a sense, and yeah, there were Royals fans out there defending him. And I saw the Royals broadcast team was talking about a need to throw at guys because you're being bullied, which that's nonsense. It's never okay to throw at the opposing team. I'm sorry, it's just not. But there were plenty of Royals fans that I saw on social media replying to a lot of the developments that are basically saying, there's something, this isn't right. This is unacceptable behavior. A lot of people clamoring for him to be sent to the minors. So when your own fan base is acknowledging that, and I think most Orioles fans did not side with Manny Machado on flinging a bat 2 years ago at the opposition. I think when you see a majority of a fan base, and again, I mean, there's some knuckleheads that are going to defend anything, but when you see a lot of fans, your own fans, speaking out against something happening, it tells you something's wrong there. So, we'll see if baseball does crack down, or we'll see if they give him the proverbial slap of the wrist of, 10 games where he'll miss a start, maybe 2, and that's that. And, this kind of nonsense will continue and be bad for the game.
Luke Jones covering all things Orioles baseball. We all also were together out at Ravens camp for some OTA actions this week. They go mandatory next week. Not much to report on the Ravens side, right, Luke? I mean, really.
It's crazy. As I tweeted out at WNST, it's crazy when I cover the Ravens and the Orioles in the same day, and there's more of a physical altercation during the baseball game. But
although there was a little helmet pulling.
There was. But Brent Urban and Ryan Jensen right at the very end of Tuesday's OTA. But nothing real significant to report. I asked John Harbaugh about Joe Flacco because you need to ask the head coach about the quarterback.
You do?
And see how he's progressing. Nothing new. Said he's, quote, ahead of schedule.
He looked like he was watching The Bachelorette with his feet up the other day. Looked fine.
Yeah. I mean, all signs continue to point to him being ready for training camp. Now, will that be day one? We'll see. But there doesn't seem to be any concern that he's going to miss significant time in training camp, which should give him enough time to get on the same page with some of his new weapons and get himself ready for the regular season. So that was good to hear that no setbacks, no concerns there, at least publicly from John Harbaugh. And the other piece of information from an injury standpoint, Bronson Kafusi, their third-round pick, the defensive end out of Brigham Young, remains sidelined with a back issue. He's not going to practice until training camp, as he's been dealing with that back injury since the start of rookie camp. So then, that's something that's a little concerning when a guy misses that much time, and we'll see if in fact he is ready for the start of camp like John Harbaugh insisted he would be, but puts him behind the likes of Lawrence Guy and Brent Urban at that 5-technique defensive end spot that is vacated by Chris Canty. So disappointing there, but overall not too many headlines. Neat to hear John Harbaugh talk about Muhammad Ali when he visited the team a few years ago, and shared his thoughts defending Jim Harbaugh's camp that was held in Patterson Park earlier this week. But overall, nothing too significant to come out of Tuesday's OTA, but mandatory minicamp next week.
I'm bummed I missed the Jim Harbaugh camp. I mean, it didn't come to me till it was over with. I didn't get the press release on that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, his attire. I mean, he's been wearing all these different jerseys, these different places he's been. Wore a Cal Ripken jersey for a while, and then was sporting the jersey of his former teammate a long time ago, Ray Lewis. But plenty of opinions on that. But it was clear where John Harbaugh predictably stood in defending his brother. And hey, I'm sure the NCAA is going to crack down and make rules against that kind of stuff. But if it's within the rules right now, then can't say too much.
Then the Harbaughs will exploit it.
Right. I did find it funny on Tuesday that at a couple different points during the presser, John Harbaugh did reference the CBA. At one point, he made it clear that they weren't in pads and there wasn't contact. And at another point, when he said he had bet Zadarius Smith $1 about him lining up in the neutral zone during practice, then he quickly kind of noted and said, well, I didn't pay him the $1 yet, and I should probably check to see if I'm allowed to do that.
I hope he pays him in quarters. You better not pay him in a check.
Yeah,
Nothing is traceable.
So, Harbaugh having a little bit of fun with it, and probably, there's some veiled truth in some animosity.
Dude, enjoy
there,
him being loose now, because that the sphincter's going to get tighter as we get to August. You know how that rolls.
Oh yeah,
You've been around Camp Hardball.
Much easier for him to be a little more laid back when it comes to stuff like that.
He was even nice to Mike Tomlin 3 weeks ago. Think about it.
Yeah, and we even asked him about why doesn't he tweet, and he talked about that a little bit. As I suggested, he could tweet his injury updates. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing that happening anytime soon.
Luke Jones can be reached, Luke at WNST.net. He's also Baltimore Luke out on Twitter. I am Nasty at WNST.net. Anywhere you go, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, I'm doing it all, including streaming on our YouTube channel at WNSTV and platforming all of it in the Buy a Toyota audio vault at WNST.net. That's there for you 24 hours a day. You can download the TuneIn Radio app and get us from wherever you are. Also, our morning newspaper hits the email inbox at 7 a.m. every morning. That's powered up by Planet Fitness. And last but never least, breaking news happens first. When that Machado suspension comes out, you'll get it first on the WNST Tech Service. That is brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. I will be at Black Eyed Susan in Glendon, Maryland, out by Reisterstown, signing copies of Purple Rain 1 and 2 for Father's Day this Saturday from 11:30 until 2. Stop out and say hello and come hungry for chocolate. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.